Homer, City Council.
Dr. Joe Ford, City Council member.
Ronnie
Shelby.
Price, Mayor. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Excuse me.
Oh, that was
Shelby
rude.
Carslary, City Council member.
Ronnie Price, Mayor.
Troy Tabor, City Council President.
Mike Warrington, City Council member.
Tim Berry, City Council member.
Buck Buchanan, Chief of Police.
Donna Davis, Chief Financial Officer.
Lance Onstadt, Assistant City Administrator.
Mike Roosevelt, Deputy Fire Chief.
Rick Lanzis, Director of Public Works and Utilities.
Les Mangus, Director of Community Development, while they fight over the land.
The Director of Community.
Jessica Williams with Triplet Wolf Garrettson.
Susan Renner, City Clerk.
Making his entrance now is JT Klaus, your city attorney, and I'm Jennifer McCausland, city administrator.
Yes.
The City Attorney.
All right. And at this time, my friend Stephen Bishop of Generation Church will lead us in invocation. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing wonderful. Can everybody hear me? Hey, I just want to say thank you before I start here. I was thinking about how blessed we are in Andover. I'm looking around the room, and I was talking to a man of God today, and I was telling him, man, to live here in Andover and be led by the people that we're led by is a true blessing. And I hope you know that, but we recognize it in the community. So it's an honor that you allow me to come pray for you and to continue to do what you do. Amen. Can you bow your heads?
Thank you.
Father, we thank you in the mighty name of Jesus. We thank you, Lord, that you say you raise up kings and you take down kings, Lord. You said that the government, the weight of the government is on your shoulders. So, Lord, I pray that every man and woman here will be free of the responsibility, Father. It's yours to carry. So, Lord, you've entrusted them to speak over this city and make decisions to cause it to go in the direction that you want it to go. So, Father, I pray for them today. I pray for wisdom greater than Solomon's wisdom. I pray for favor, Lord, over their lives and their families, their children, Father. Thank you for this school system. Thank you for the fire department. Thank you for the police department. Thank you for every office represented here. Lord, it's in my power. So I pray a blessing over them and this meeting, Lord, in the name of Jesus. And so with that, Lord, we give you the floor in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, sir. Now we'll stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. At this time, I'll open the floor for a public forum. If anybody like to speak, state your name, your address, keep it short.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Becky with the Andover Area Chamber of Commerce, 1951 North Andover Road. You're going to hear from me twice tonight. But I wanted to get up here and just talk a little bit about our Festival of Trees event, kind of a kickoff for the Christmas season here in Andover. We're having it, our Jingle Mingle event is on December 2nd at Andover State Bank. And I would really encourage you to go around to the businesses and look at their trees, or go down to Andover State Bank and look at some trees. They have done an amazing job. So thanks to all the businesses who participated. We had 24 businesses, or 24 trees, and 19 businesses participate. So that's quite a good turnout. We're really excited about that. We're going to have an online auction for that. So be looking for that. But I wanted to say a special thanks to Rick's crew. Vern Tripp and his crew helped cut some of the trees, and we appreciate that very, 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 very much. We couldn't have gotten it done on our own. Homer was so glad that he didn't have to cut trees. So we appreciate it very much. So I've got pizza coming for them when they're ready. So that's just so you know. But I want to thank all of you for for your support and helping with that. And thanks a lot, and hope to see you on the 2nd of December.
All right. Anyone else? All right. Closing public forum. Acceptance of agenda.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I move to accept the agenda as presented.
Second. Sorry, Tim. Tim seconded that.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries 6-0. Citizen request, Andover Chamber of Commerce. Becky Wolf.
Well, good evening again. Tonight I'm here to request the use of the Andover Lodge for December 10th for our chamber board retreat. We have a retreat every year that we hold. As you know, a lot of places in Andover, it's a little difficult to find a location that we can meet with 15, 16, 17 people to come together and do strategic planning for our retreat. So I am requesting that we use the lodge at no charge and for approximately 8:30 to 1 o'clock on December 10th.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I move to approve Andover Chamber of Commerce's request to waive base reservation fees for use of the Central Park Lodge on December 10th, 2021 from 8:30 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. ish.
Second. Ish.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries. There
Thank
have
you
it.
so much. We appreciate that very much. And I say ish because a lot of people like to talk, so it might be a little longer. No, I'm kidding. Thank you.
Why'd you look right at me? All right. Consent agenda.
Mr. Mayor,
Go ahead, Homer.
Go ahead, Homer.
I move to approve the consent agenda 8.1 through 8.6 as presented.
Troy.
I would second that.
Thank you.
Sure.
All in favor, I'm sorry, any further discussion?
Just want to, Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
point out one of the items in there is the service awards for 2021.
Oh, yeah.
Very special. We have some 20 years and several 15 years. Rocky and Steve, both 20 years, and then 15 years. Mickey Ferris, Lance Parker, Kelly Galloway, Susan Renner. Thank you, Susan. Stan Gibson and Richard Lansworth. Awesome. 15 years. 10 years. Becky Page, Paula Babb, and Terry Jones, and 5 years. Felicia Massey. It's pretty exciting.
Yep.
It's a lot of time invested in our community for all these people, and hitting 20 years is a big deal. Thought I'd call that out. That's all.
It's awesome.
Appreciate that. Man, congratulations on all of you, and thank you very much. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries 6-0. Retail sales tax ordinance. What's F? What's that about?
Effective. Sorry, that was
Okay.
abbreviation
April
there. Mr. Mayor and Council, as you know, we had a election on November 2nd, and the voters, I'm going to just say it from my angle, the way I want to say it, they overwhelmingly supported your sales tax request from a 2-to-1 perspective. And so now that we have the vote of, or the results of that vote, we do need to approve an ordinance to actually levy the 1% sales tax. As you may recall, it was written to begin on April 1st. You may feel like I do, wow, that's a long time. Why can't we start now? The state requires 90 days notice before, or maybe it's 60, but regardless, it has to start on the first of a quarter, and they do need 60 or 90 days. I believe I included in the memo, which it is. So April 1st is the soonest that we can begin it. So be happy to answer any questions. Excited to get these projects kicked off or continue to kick them off.
And would you, good night. Could you refresh our memory? It's for 8 years and we can shut it off sooner? but am I
You can.
correct? But it has to be in quarterly as well, is that
Correct. Just like you can only start it on the quarter, you can only end it at the start of the quarter. And that's good information for the public. The rationale is that the businesses need to have a little bit of notice so that they know it's not as easy as just turning it on and turning it off. They have to change their cash registers and do some software updates for the sales to be collected correctly. So that is why there is that advance notice so that the state can do appropriate notification to all the businesses in the city.
Any other questions or statements?
Mr. Mayor.
I have a question.
Go ahead, Troy. Yes.
So if there are any state tax law changes between now and then, could there be any that would affect this?
The league is advising us not to be concerned about that at this time, that the governor, what she has released, has had like a little asterisk, and to be very clear that this is the state sales tax, not all sales tax. Certainly there's concern that once you start down a road, sometimes there's a desire to continue to pursue those efforts. Personally, I think something that went to the voters would be a very hard thing to undo. But, you know, at this moment in time, what we're being told by League, who spends a lot of time up at the State House, is that this is totally focused on the state sales tax, that 6.5%, and that they've made that clear in correspondence with the League. That's the intent of this, not to impact city and counties who may have special sales taxes.
Since this is a long horizon, it's possible that they could, you know, halfway through, they go ahead and just cut it off anyway. I mean, what would that do to this? We have projects in the middle of being worked on, and then suddenly the revenue for it's gone. Could that?
That's
how do we
why I
handle
really
it?
don't think they'll be able to do that. And especially if you are in a situation where you've sold bonds and you need a revenue stream to make those payments. But, you know, I guess that we could hypothesize what could happen, but what we've been told is that is not the intention. We have no reason to believe that that's going to happen at this time.
Thank you.
And I think another good point is that they have said they will allow the locals to decide. So they may say, so there may be political pressure maybe from the state to say, we did away with our 6.5%. Locals, are you going to continue to charge on groceries? And that would be a decision then for you to make.
Thank you.
Good question.
That was a great question, Troy. Thank you. Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
I move to approve the ordinance levying 1% special purpose retailer sales tax in the city of Andover.
Second. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries 6-0. And it's worth saying that this council will be, and this staff will be, for the public, they are very frugal with the citizens' money, and it will not be wasted, and it will not be misused, and it will be, if we have an opportunity to stop it sooner, that will definitely happen. So it's just worth saying that this council is very responsible. So that's all I have to say about that. Heritage 10, second edition, 10-1 water and sewer project bids. And Les is going to talk to us.
Earlier this month, we collected bids for the water and sewer improvements for the next phase of the Heritage Residential Project. We had 5 bids. 4 of the bids were very close. They're good bids. They're well under the engineer's estimate. We're recommending the lowest bid, even though that bidder doesn't meet our policy to be on the KDOT approved contractors list. We have references from the city of Wichita and from MKC, the engineer on the project, that they're well satisfied with Apex's work, and they also recommend that we take that low bid.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes,
I
sir.
have a question, or maybe just a statement. We've used Apex before, haven't we?
I don't believe we have.
Yeah, I know
There are
they've bid
several
on-
different Apex companies,
Oh, okay.
Apex Irrigation, and this is Excavation.
Excavation. Okay. I remember that name and I've seen it in other bids before. So, okay. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I do have a question. When you brought up it's not on the state's approved list, are we going to have any problems with that when it comes to the grants or anything for any of that stuff, or does this not affect that?
There are no grants in this private improvements for the Heritage Project.
Okay.
That's a qualification that we have adopted, that all our contractors get on that list because it shows some credibility in their finances and their capabilities.
Thank you. Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
I move to accept the lowest qualified bid from Apex Excavating in the amount of $261,829.50 and reject all other bids and authorize the mayor to sign the contract for the Heritage Second Edition Sanitary Sewer and Water Distribution System improvements. God bless you.
Second.
Thank you, Joe. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries 6-0. All right. 11-1, Go Bond Series 2021B TIF. And Jennifer's going to talk to us about this.
Mr. Mayor and Council, before you tonight is a resolution for a bond sale scheduled for Tuesday, December 14th, which is conveniently the same day as your meeting in December. So what we are asking today is for approval of this resolution. Dr. Lease with the Heritage Group is here and able to answer any questions. I'm guessing one question I may get. I did receive 3 letters of credit in my hand today for the full amount required, which is $10,466,000.
Great. Any questions? Any questions for Dr. Lees? All right.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I move to approve the sale resolution authorizing and providing for the public sale of the city's taxable general obligation tax increment bonds, Series B 2021, in a total principal amount of approximately $16,940,000, and authorizing Piper Jaffray and Company to make or to market such bonds.
Second.
Mike? Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries 6-0. Notice of public hearing amended 2021 budget, and Donna Davis will speak to us.
We have a pretty light amendment to the budget this year, not a lot of things on there. There's 3 accounts. One of them is the Park Impact Fund. We are combining it with the Park Improvement Fund because they're essentially doing the same thing, so the 2 funds were redundant. But in order to do that, we have to amend the budget so I can do a transfer from one to the other. So that's the only reason the Park Impact is being amended. The recycling and trash, whenever we do the budget, it's a guess as to how many customers we have and what the rates are going to be that we need to pay Waste Connections. So this is just truing it up based upon the number of customers, the amount that we owe them. When we bill the customers, that's considered revenue to us. And when we pay Waste Connections, we have to treat it as an expense, even though it's a pass-through. So this is just bringing that up so we can be within the budget amounts. And then the last one is the Wastewater Expansion and Reserve Fund. This is for the estimated amount of the engineering contract, plus any other incidentals that we may have coming up. Because I know we're getting ready to do the bid for the engineering contract. So
We intend to bring you a contract on the next council for that.
and those are the only things that we needed to amend this year. We're asking to set the public hearing for December 14th. And and it's been published, and it should be published again in the paper. So that's what we're requesting.
Any questions? Comments?
Mr. Mayor, I do have a question. In regards to the publication, is that now online or not yet?
December, we'll bring you a resolution that will finish that out.
Okay.
And then we will begin to start putting things on.
Website. Okay. And then Donna, sorry, Mr. Mayor, I have one more question. On the recycling trash utilities, it's a pass through, so it's just a positive, negative, and then it balances at zero.
Right.
Where do we over budget for that normally or under budget?
Last year, I was right on last year in 2020. We've got a few more trash customers, the trash rate of recycling goes up. So it's always just, and since we do the budget a year and a half ahead of time, it's kind of hard to hit that number. This is one that almost every year I have to amend.
Okay. Thank you.
Mhm.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I move to set the public hearing for the proposed 2021 amended budget for December 14th, 2021 council meeting.
Second.
So with the, I'm just kind of curious, and you may not know the answer, and that's all right. Just inquisitive. So when Eagle Trash Service sold to Waste Capital, did a lot of people switch to, because I know there's a lot of Eagle customers in town. Did we notice an uptick in?
Not that I'm aware of, but I don't get those calls.
So I'm probably the only one then, right? All right. All right. All right. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries 6-0. Pardon me. Police Department purchase, Becky Day, 911 Communication Director.
Did you want to?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Mike Leese, I just want to tell everyone here, thank you for all your help and support through the years, getting to the point where the heritage is going to come out of the ground. I'm here representing the whole group, the team, which, is Key Construction and Dave Burke, and everything's lined up with the passage of the bond dates and everything. We are going to actually might even be digging in December because we want to get going. And there's been full-time work going on pricing everything, trying to keep the costs in line to where this can really happen. And it's been a struggle, but it's going to happen. And I think you all can be very proud of what you've done for the city of Andover, because it's going to bring, it's really a new era. We're excited about it. We hope you are. We know you are. And we just appreciate all your support. So thank you very much. And have a nice Christmas season.
Thank
The
you,
lights
sir.
are beautiful,
Thank you.
absolutely beautiful. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Mike.
And where'd Jason go? But Mr. Gish was just here. He had a big role in all of it. And we're just very proud of everything that's been happening. And even the new park is it's going to look fantastic. And Jason designed it all and overseeing it. So I think we can all be proud of it. Proud of Andover.
Been a lot of teamwork, hasn't it?
Pardon?
Been a lot of teamwork, hasn't it?
Yes, sir. Yeah. City staff has been fantastic. Yeah. They've leaned over backwards for us, and we appreciate it.
Thank you for your
Very much.
comments. We appreciate it.
Thank you all.
Yes, sir.
Patrol officer portable radios upgrade, right?
Yes.
All right, it's all yours.
All right. Mayor and City Council, in front of you is a request to purchase 10 Motorola APX 6000 portable radios from the Butler County Communications Center in the amount of $48,297. A little bit of history on the system. In 2009, Andover, along with every other agency in Butler County, signed a memorandum of agreement with Butler County Emergency Communications to get the radio system on an 800 megahertz system. In this MOU, Butler County, we passed the sales tax, and then Butler County provided initial 800 megahertz radios
to everyone within the county on the radio system, with the understanding that they were going to do the maintenance and upkeep on the infrastructure, but we ourselves as users had to replace radios as they failed, or just aged out. We were told in 2020 that the current STX 2500s are now obsolete. They cannot get parts to fix them. Finding batteries for these radios are almost impossible. I currently have one extra battery for the officers. We just can't find them. And they can no longer fix our radios if we have problems. So they developed a radio subcommittee to discuss using American Rescue Plan Act funds to purchase radios. That subcommittee did get Butler County Commission to agree to fund a portion of radios throughout the county. Our portion for the Andover Police Department was 13 radios at the price of $4,829.70. That is the discount price from Motorola, which they've entered the agreement with Butler County. Motorola has extended that offer and that discount out through December 31st of 2021. After that date, the price is going to increase to at least $5,861. I say at least because with the new year, you don't know exactly what that's going to be. But the current non-discounted rate is the $5,861. So what I'm requesting is to purchase an additional 10 at this discounted price. I believe earlier in the year, Chief Keller talked to council about we had 2 car purchases, but we were going to only purchase 1 car so we could use the allocated money to replace our radios using the second car monies that was set aside. There is another person who sells these radios. His name is Jeff Arbitrout. He is not in the area. He's in Tulsa. I did speak with him today. His quote on a price was a little over $4,000. So he wouldn't narrow down a number for me. Speaking with Butler County 911, they said currently they will program any APX 6000 brought to them no matter the vendor. But if there's issues with the radios, we have to send them back to that vendor. Currently, if there's problems with the radios, they can either fix them in-house or in Wichita. Also, the Butler County Director, Jeremy Seglem, advised that in the near future, they are going to start charging for maintenance and programming of radios not purchased within Butler County's contract. So I think even if they said $4,500 for their radio opposed to $4,800, we're going to have to pay more for we're going to have to pay for programming. And then if there's issues with the radios, we're going to have to send them off, and there'll be a longer time before we can get them back. Do you
Any
have
questions?
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
Becky, are you happy with, that? If Dr. Ford was going to give you a blank check and say, Becky, get what you want, are you happy with this, resolution?
So I'm asking for 10 now. We need 31, but we can't afford to buy that many right now. So we'll build into the budget to purchase 2 a year until we get our fleet up to where we need to. And then during that time, we'll continue to use the 2500s until they fail. Part of the Butler County system is there's only so many radio numbers available on the state system. So I have to give them a 2500 in order to get an APX 6000. I do have broken ones, ones that, for whatever reason, they don't work. They accept those. They just want the radio numbers off of those. So to get this initial 10, I actually only have to pull 4 off of the streets because of my broken cash that I've been sitting over here waiting to get parts for. I mean, it would be great if we could purchase all of them now at this price. And I'm sure we could make it work somewhere in our budget. I just have requested 10.
Another thing with this budget too, it doesn't include the portable radio or the mobile radios.
Mhm.
So we have 20,
We have 24 mobile radios, which is what are in the cars.
yeah, those they're thinking they're going to be around $6,000. We don't know yet, but they'll have to be replaced as well.
With the mobile radios, currently they aren't having problems with those, but we have to aggressively start looking at replacing those so we don't run into the problem that we have with our portables where they are obsolete and we can't fix them.
Portables, sorry, this wasn't covered in the Citizen Police Academy. Portables are on the police officer.
Mhm.
Mobiles are in the car.
Correct.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I have a question.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Could we use any ARPA money to help with some additional radios? Maybe not all, but some that is needed, more than 10?
I was thinking about that. I don't think you would want to authorize that tonight, but I think that's a worthwhile thing to look into next year as we're figuring out how and where to allocate all of that money. President Biden passed a gun violence act that opened up a lot of ARPA money to public safety that was not previously, you remember when this came out, it was pretty strict to wastewater, water, and broadband. But then as he's passed some various laws and they've kind of been like, well, how are you going to help the local governments pay to do these things? Then they've tacked them on in the Treasury guidelines, and gun violence is one of the laws. And so pretty much anything that can be illustrated to show a way to reduce crime qualifies. So we'd have to look into it, but I think we might be able to utilize it for that.
That's awesome. Okay, thank you.
Mr. Mayor. So piggybacking off of Mike's question, and if I'm doing maybe the math right in my head, Becky, Chief, the police department would like another 20 on top of that 10. No?
Butler County, and I don't want to understate this because this was very generous of them. They used ARPA money to buy radios for police and fire stations across the county. They gave our fire station 10 and they gave the police department 13. So we are, for our 10 we're buying, we're getting 13 for free. We just have to trade in those other old radios.
We need another eight more.
Right.
Okay. Is that still about though an $8,000 savings though if we did it now as opposed to next year, or am I?
Saving about $10,000 by these 10, and then we still have additional 8 more we'll get over a period of time on the handheld ones. So yes, we're saving about 10,000 this year, which
I know. I'm just saying if we wanted to go ahead and do them all,
yes,
wouldn't we be saving $10,000 now?
yes.
I mean, I guess I'm saying that's a lot.
And typically,
That's 2 radios.
typically you go, each year they go up. I know that we have had in our budget to replace the 2500 series that are now obsolete. And every year we'd have to increase that. I mean, technology goes up every year. So the non discounted price, that's just until the end of the year. We don't know what that's going to do after the first year. More than likely that will increase as it does every year.
I have a question, Mayor.
Go ahead, sir.
Chief, Chief Buck. And you may not know this because you just took over, but why have we not purchased, a couple each year to kind of?
Good question. This is something that the county, when we went to last year, Becky and myself went to these meetings. The county, every agency in the county, except for the fire department, has done a great job of planning this, but most police departments did not plan this. And they told us that when we went that none of the police departments had budgeted this money. So, of course, that's other agencies there, for some reason they didn't. And so this last year, we went to our budget and said, we need to add these to ours to correct this
So
problem.
moving
and
forward, are we budgeting?
We
then?
did budget,
Okay.
yes.
I mean, it's like saying we didn't budget for tires. I mean, we need.
Yeah,
need
we
new
did.
tires.
We went in this year to put it in there for 2 radios additional for each year. The only thing we don't have, and we don't know the price yet, are the mobile radios
Right,
because
that's
of.
in the units.
You
Okay. Do we not swap? Do we swap them when we get new cars? Then we just
Yes.
put the old ones in
Same,
the new
yes.
cars. Okay. Hey, Roosevelt, I know I talked to Chief Russell about the gentleman, I believe in Tulsa.
Yes.
That's where you guys pretty much purchase your radios from. Am I?
Over a period of time, Mr. Armentrout was able to secure some excellent pricing and serviceability of radios that were in use all across the county, not just for our agency, but all over. Mostly the fire departments, but not exclusive.
Okay.
And he's now a resident down in Oklahoma, so I don't really have anything else about that.
And we did. Once Fire Chief and I talked about that as well, the cost, what they were getting them at. So Becky, after we learned that, we reached out to him, but we also wanted to find out, would this work with the county? What's it going to cost above what his costs were? And so that's where you got that tonight.
I would like to state one thing that I think might be slightly misrepresented or maybe misunderstood, or maybe I just missed it. I believe 2027 is when these are expected to be obsolete. Is that correct? Like, it's not a next year type thing, just
No,
to talk
so-
about the urgency here.
Unfortunately, when we did the CIP, it wasn't put into another part. And originally it was going to be 127,000, I think it was, if we had to pay for all these.
I'm sorry, but in 2027.
Yes, in 2027 is what, if we would have done these 2 a year, or no, it was actually going to be 8, 7, all these different numbers we had, it would have came off in 2027. So by this plan, by purchasing so many a year, but that's not in the budget. That wasn't put in the right spot, so.
But Becky, am I on the right track that they'll be like we should plan for this radio that everyone else is carrying today to be obsolete in 2027, but we've got a few years to get.
So the
there.
version that Chief is carrying, it's obsolete now. The version that Roosevelt is carrying, it's getting there. I mean, it's technology. We have to continue to build to replace those. We got these radios in 2009. I mean, we've had them a long time, much longer than what you would expect a radio to last. So I would say definitely 2027, that gives you, a good 5-6 years. It's usually when you see the turnaround of stuff starting to fail or not getting parts.
So, forgive me, I'm kind of new at this. Is adding more a decision we can make tonight, or is this for another night?
I was going to say, I don't know how Donna's feeling about that. I mean, yeah, I was going to say, Chief and Becky worked hard to come up with this plan tonight and ensure that it was within your budget, because as she said, essentially what they're doing is utilizing funds that were budgeted for a vehicle. So I don't know if you'd like to speak to where this extra money would come from.
The only other place, and I'm not sure what the police have scheduled it for, is their reserve fund. And I'm not sure what you've got planned to come out of that in the future years.
So we obviously start having to look at body cameras, because those are getting ready to be phased out technology wise. And it would be nice. We could probably take the funds from there, because we talked about that a while back of what's in our budget. So it's not out of the question. It's definitely something we can look at. But instead of buying radios, then we're going to have to start looking at body cameras.
And
So,
maybe the body cams would fall under that ARPA.
yeah.
So
Actually, I feel very confident that the body cameras are qualified under ARPA.
So do we have a progression plan to, are we going to move forward with a policy we're going to buy 2 radios a year or 2 body camera? I mean, instead of saying, oh my God, we got to replace them now.
So the radios we do have a plan. We've got that in the budget that we have approved, and it's stated in there 2 a year for the radios. Body cameras, you can't really buy 2 body cameras because technology, and you buy them as a group, it changes so much that we just can't go with that plan. So that's why we put in a reserve fund to build it up to replace them all at once.
But if we were able to use the ARPA money to do the body cameras, that would free up some of the reserve if you were authorizing the extra radios now.
Could we buy an additional 8 today for that price? or are they only going to allow us to buy 10 more at that?
No, we could buy as many as we ask for at that price.
How long will these 6,000s be valid? I mean,
You're
if we
looking
buy,
at-
if we buy 18 now and then 2 years from now, oops, sorry, they're obsolete.
So you're, technology wise, you're looking at 6 years, 6, 7 years. Now that Butler County has a kind of a grasp on how quick these are going, they have a guy, his name's Kevin, he runs the radios. He's paying very, very close attention. If we keep putting our money back to replace radios, then we won't be hit. Everybody was hit in 2020 when they said, we can't get parts for these anymore. Sorry. I mean, it was one of those, we had already had in the budget to replace a couple a year, but we were replacing them with obsolete radios.
And are we really pretty positive that we can use ARPA funds? Because I wouldn't want us to get into a situation where we use those reserve funds and then we find out later it's not going to be applicable for something like body cams.
I don't think that I would say I'm positive about anything with ARPA, but I would say that body cameras were specifically mentioned as being part of that war against guns or whatever they're trying to push out, because the point, and they actually mentioned flock cameras by name, which I know is something we've talked about. Anything that can reduce crimes is really what they, and you probably hear about that in your chief's meetings.
Oh,
I
you
don't
bet.
know.
So to help with that is the big cry, or not cry, the big complaint in law enforcement is transparency. Body cameras are usually one of the hottest items you'll get out there. A lot of agencies still don't have them. And that's one of the push for police reform, is that agencies will have them as well as having policies. We've been ahead of the game since 2009 when we first started going with body cameras. We've had car cameras since at least the 90s, early 90s, when I was a reserve here. So we've always been ahead of the game on that, but yet that's one of those with, you'll see reforms, you'll almost always see body cameras in ways to combat that.
So in regards to your budget, if council was willing to do so tonight, would you want us to do that? That's the end of the day, y'all, it's your budget. It's your ask. Are you wanting to spend money that you may need later? That's the bottom line.
And I know Becky will go with this too, is overall, if we do this tonight, we're going to save between buying 18 radios compared to just 10. That's $18,000. Talking about frugal. That's very a huge savings.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
With the old radios that are such hot commodities for parts, and are we able to sell some of those junk radios for parts for other agencies that might want to prolong the life of those?
So no, those actually have to go back to Butler County, since they're the ones that provided the radios to us to begin with. Now, I know Parks, Streets and Wastewater has some of those radios. I will still have a few in my office as well as extra batteries to keep those radios running. They don't get used as often as emergency services do. So they are in much better shape. I have 2 brand new ones sitting in my office that's just for public works. So I'll have a cache to run our city, but the ones that I have to return, they do have to go back to Butler County since they purchased them.
So is the 6,000 the best radio is that the one we have to use, or?
That is the one that Butler County has contracted with. And after talking to their director, that would be the model we would need to purchase in order for them to program and do upgrades to, because that's the system that they are buying. And since
Even
they-
the fire, I'm sorry, Becky.
And since they do all of our programming and they do all of our updates, we have to go with a model that they choose because they run our infrastructure.
Yeah, even the fire department and EMS, when these meetings, it's not just the police that are in there. And usually they're really good about testing radios and what's, as hard as they are in the environment they're going into. So as a group, that was the overall census, that was the radio they needed to go with.
So we do believe the 6,000 is going to be around for 10 years.
You bet.
Okay.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
So I feel like I would want to make a motion, and maybe this is a little bit JT, a little bit Becky. do we do the math right now and make the motion for all 18? Or do we need to table this because I believe I heard your date. We need to have the order in by December 31st. So we still have another meeting December 14th.
That was my question.
Just
You
do
said
the math.
18 times whatever it is.
That was my question. That was my question. I didn't say it quite as clear as Homer did. Is that something we can do? Can we add 10 radios sitting here tonight, or do we need to wait 2 weeks?
It's just a math problem. I don't see a problem with just making a motion.
3460.
All right. Huh? I want
So just do 18 times. I will, Mr. Mayor.
So we can do it, right? Okay, staff.
Here.
Okay.
Give me that number. I'll do it.
Mr. Mayor, I move to,
He's got it.
I move to approve and authorize the communication director to purchase 18 Motorola APX 6000 portable radios from Butler County Emergency Communications for the amount of $86,934.60.
Yes. Thank you, sir.
$34.66.
And those will be ready to use. Butler County will program them and you just hand them out. Okay.
Yep.
Okay.
Will they fit in the holders that you have?
We have all new holders. It comes with new holders, new batteries, new charging, new mics, everything.
Yeah, you can always get new holders with your lightsabers.
All right.
Second.
Tim Berry, second.
Homer
And 10.
I'm so confused right now. I'm sorry. You guys stunned me
You're,
in a good way.
everyone remembers their first day.
Any further discussion?
Well, I mean, Mr. Mayor, I
Yes, sir.
see Gap Roosevelt discussing it. Are you getting ready? December 14th coming for more radios too, or?
Sidebar conversations, sir, not necessarily correct timing for me,
All right, thank you.
but I appreciate the thought.
Yeah.
And it's Deputy Chief Roosevelt, by the way, in case you was wondering what his title is.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
And all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries 6-0.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your time and patience. Worked out good, huh?
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
I just want to point out, I mean, I think as a city and constituents and being a member of Andover, I want to be on the upper echelon of it and making sure first responders are taken care of too. So, I mean, I appreciate the time that you put into that, Becky, and giving us that feedback, and just want to make sure that you guys are happy as well with the product that we're purchasing, right?
All right. Employee pay plan 2022. And Chastity Page will present that to us this evening.
Chastity Page, Director of Human Resources. In the packet, you have the 2022 Employee Pay Plan. If you recall, Council included a 4.5% raise pool for the 2022 budget. This included a 2.5% merit and a 1.5% COLA, as well as a merit plus pool for those who received the highest pool of our ratings. Those will be effective January 1st. In the pay plan, you'll also see step raises, longevity for non-exempt employees, as well as the COLA and merit increases. Additional requests in this pay plan, we have 6 employees that will receive additional pay increase to get them to 90% of midpoint for their pay ranges. This is something that we have continued to do to get people up to midpoint is kind of our goal to make sure that we're in line with other communities. 7 long-term employees have actually reached the top of their pay scales. And one thing that we started last year, we would like to give them half of the difference of what they would have received versus what they are actually able to receive. We'd like to do this as a flat bonus that will be issued on July 1st in 2022. And then we also have 2 employees who are will have completed their 6-month evaluations prior to the end of 2022. So at that point, we'd like to go ahead and make sure that they get a merit increase as well for that. If you have any questions at all, I'd be happy to answer.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
A question this style, I guess, would be that there's a cap then of what you can make, except if you were to give bonuses. I wonder if that's not, I could have brought this up when we talked about it before, I guess, but
What fun would that be?
I know, right? But that puts a ceiling on someone's income, and why would they stay here if they could walk somewhere else and make more? And you could ask about that about any position I get,
Right.
but to put a ceiling on pay is maybe old way of thinking.
So there was a time when the city of Andover ignored their pay range scale, and what it resulted in were some people being paid far above market rate for their positions. And that's really what the pay plan is all about, is an acknowledgement that for any given job, there's a market rate for that job, and there's a low end and there's a high end. And as Chassie's pointed, our goal would be to make sure we're paying people who've been here at least a few years, 3 years or so at least, with positive evaluations, that we're at least getting them to that midpoint. But when you start to get into those, we talked earlier in the meeting, we've got some 20-year employees. When you got to have employees who are, I would go as far to say, blessed enough to receive 3 to 5% raises annually, that's going to push them to that high end. If you don't have a high end cap, it won't take it. We've seen it here
I know.
where you've got people who, when you go to look at market data, you'll say, wow, we're paying this particular position much higher than anybody else. And so it's hard with morale. And that's where these bonuses came in, was to tell someone, well, you've capped out and there's nothing more, you're not going to earn anymore, and not be able to give them something monetary to say, here's a bonus. We hope that it kind of takes out the sting for the fact that you've capped out in your profession or your position. That's been our solution. Is it perfect? No, but that's been the solution we've come up with.
Okay, thank you.
I would also like to say that it is practice to evaluate your salary ranges basically every 3 to 5 years-ish. And we are up with this next year into looking at evaluating our pay schedules. So there's that potential for next year for the cap to increase, and these people will have a little bit higher of a ceiling to reach, and we may not have this issue.
So you're going to be
for next
doing
year.
that in the middle of what the heck's going on with pay today in our entire economy, right? That'll be fun.
The
Yeah,
aerospace
absolutely. We're not alone in it, actually. There's quite a few other communities that have within the last 6 months and are currently in the process of doing it as well. So we're not alone in that. So
the aerospace industry many years ago quit rolling in cost of living because for the very reason that people were making so much money, it was literally driving them out of business. So they would do the COLA once a year and then reevaluate the next year. Just
A lot
for
of private businesses don't even do a cost of living rate
Right.
anymore.
Right. So,
Correct.
and that's part of the reason, because it does put people overvalued and put you out of business. So, all
Good
right.
answer. Thank you for all the hard work on this.
How far are we into this, the cap or the pay structure? Did I miss that part? 2018, is that what you said?
2019 is when we implemented this one. So we're looking at next year
Okay.
being prepared for the 2023
Being the third
budget.
year of it, preparing for maybe the fourth year of doing something kind of. Does that
Well,
sound
that's
right?
actually, what I was going to say, and I was debating whether or not to speak up, but yes, we probably wouldn't have done it until 23 or 24, but in light of what's going on, I would say our pay plan has been turned on its head. Like, I can't really tell you that that's completely the right pay ranges for all those positions today, because there are communities not very far away from us that are paying $10,000 signing bonuses for municipal jobs, and that is unheard of in local government work, but it's the new situation. And so I think we do need to look at that pay plan in 22 to make sure it is still, valid and that we're still within range, because I think the biggest challenge we're going to have post-COVID is our human resource challenge. I absolutely believe that will be our biggest challenge in 2022.
If you pay signing bonuses, that's not really fair to people that are already working to not pay them the same bonus to stay, right?
Yep.
That'll be fun.
And
Let's
people
not
are-
do it 10,000.
And people, no, people are poaching employees.
Yeah.
And a lot of you are too young to remember. There was a time when Town East was doing it from store to store inside the mall, stealing each other's employees because lack of work, a whole lot like we are now. We have a lack of workers, and it's probably going to get worse before it gets better. So competition, and it will balance out, and we don't want to be on the high side when it does balance out. If we're paying too much and then everything drops, then we eat it till somebody decides to leave, So
Then maybe we just pay bonuses to stay on and not actually give keep the raises as they are, the current structure as it is, and then as we need to pay bonuses to stay. And then when it ever levels out, then we reevaluate.
it's been this old man's experience, and Andover does a very good job of that. I think that if you treat people, I use Vornado as an example. They don't pay a whole lot of money, but they treat their people really, really well. It's a lot of it is not pay as much. People enjoy coming to work, and it's something that I think that's something we need to focus on going forward and I think we do.
We do.
So, all right, can I get a motion?
Sure, Mr. Mayor. I move to approve the 2022 salary pay plan as presented in the packet.
Just drew a blank. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries 6-0. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Executive session, land acquisition, KSA 75-4319B6.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes, sir.
I move to recess into executive session for preliminary discussions relating to the acquisition of real property per KSA 75-4319B6. Session to include governing body, city attorney, city administrator, community development director, and assistant city administrator, and legal staff. The open meeting will resume at 8:20.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries 6-0.
executive session. Mr. Mayor?
Sir.
Oh, wait,
Whoa,
sorry.
whoa, whoa. Calm down. Slow down. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries 6-0.
Mr. Mayor?
Homer.
I move to recess into executive session for preliminary discussions relating to the acquisition of real property per KSA 754319B6, session to include governing body, city attorney and staff, city administrator, community development director, and assistant city administrator. The open meeting will resume at 8:35.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries 6-0.
Mr. Mayor, I move to come out of executive session.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries 6-0.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I move to authorize the Director of Community Development to offer Ruben and Myra Mendoza the just compensation to purchase the street right-of-way for parcel R24033 for their Heritage Parkway Improvement Project.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries 6-0.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I move to authorize the Director of Community Development to offer the owner of the property and Mary Stoffel et al. The just compensation to purchase the street right-of-way drainage easement and temporary construction easement for parcel R23220 for the 159th Street Improvement Project.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries 6-0.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I move to authorize the Director of Community Development to offer John and Phyllis Galbraith the just compensation to purchase the street right-of-way and temporary construction easement for parcel R23223 for the 159th Street Improvement Project.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries 6-0.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I move to authorize the Director of Community Development to offer Jeffrey and C. Lynn Greenberg the just compensation to purchase the street right-of-way and temporary construction easement for parcel R23224 for the 159th Street Improvement Project.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries.
Mr. Mayor,
6-0. Yes.
I move to authorize the Director of Community Development to offer Dale and Cheryl Hansen the just compensation to purchase the drainage easement and temporary construction easement for parcel R20876 for the North Andover Road Improvement Project.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries 6-0.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I move to authorize the Director of Community Development to offer DLD Development Company LLC the just compensation to purchase the street right-of-way drainage easement and temporary construction easement for parcel R21773 for the North Andover Road Improvement Project.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion carries 6-0.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I move to withdraw the previous offer and authorize the Director of Community Development to offer Raydot Properties LLC the just compensation to purchase the street right-of-way drainage easement and temporary construction easement for parcel R21771 for the North Andover Road Improvement Project.
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 All opposed, nay. Motion carries 6-0.
That's it, sir.
All right. Members' items. Anybody?
Mr. Mayor, I have a couple things.
Yeah.
One thing, I just want to say thank you to the Parks Department for all the wonderful lights that are up in the park. And I told Rick earlier, the blue and white ones around the lake look really cool. So that's really nice, and a lot of hard work y'all did to make all that happen. Second thing is I want to congratulate Andover Central High School football team for going to state and unfortunately coming in second place, but it was a hard fight, and really enjoyed watching them this season.
Mike, are they 4A?
Yes, last year.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, sir.
I just want to thank staff. Daniel, oh yeah, he's here. He said the lights aren't quite finished yet, but they do look amazing around the park. And so if you haven't seen them, come out. And then, did I miss an email or anything? Katie, are we doing the judging of we're doing the judging of the lights. Are we still when is it due? to be registered.
That,
She sent out another email today.
Oh, I must have missed today's
All type of
email.
situation.
So the house, the holiday light contest for the residents
Uh-huh.
and businesses, the registration is closed for that. The judges are supposed to be going out this week to, starting tomorrow, to do their voting on who they anticipate to be the winners.
Perfect. Thank you, Becky.
While I'm
Chastity.
while I'm up here, I would like to go ahead and mention that tomorrow night at 5:30, we are doing tree lighting to kind of open up the wonderland that we have here, here in Central Park. Santa will be here at 5:30 to do the tree lighting, and he'll also stick around for about an hour to give the kiddos a chance to get in some early Christmas wishes. And then also next Thursday, December 9th, is our hometown Christmas festival starting at 5:30, and it will go until 8 o'clock. Santa will be here again. We'll have cookies and crafts in the library, chili cook-off in the lodge. They are still accepting applications for that. So you can go to andoverks.com/HTC and find all the information about that. You'll be able to do s'mores with the fire department, hayrack ride around the park, barrel train here for the kids. Prairie Creek Singers will be here to do some singing at 5:30, I think it is. And then Andover Jazz Band will be here in City Hall playing music throughout the evening. So the donations, the entry fee is a donation of either a new toy or food item or monetary donation, and that will go to caring and sharing. So just wanted to remind everyone about those upcoming events.
When is caring and sharing? Do you remember? Anybody? Is it on my calendar?
Thank you, Chastity.
Yeah, sorry, Chastity. I was just kind of.
Thanks for stepping up there, Chess.
Usually the Tuesday or Wednesday, the week before the week of Christmas. With Christmas being a Saturday this year, it kind of makes it funny on the calendar. It seems like way early, but on or about.
It's the 16th. Sorry, I answered my own question.
All right.
That was all I had. Thank you.
Yeah.
Members item, anything else? Anybody?
So Jenny, I saw in your report something about the Blue Cross Blue Shield adult outdoor fitness workshop or workout items. What is that?
We were approached by a vendor of adult outdoor gym facilities probably a month ago that Blue Cross Blue Shield offers certain communities grants to help put one of these adult workout facilities in their community. And we had been nominated, selected. I don't know how you would put that. So it sounds really good on the front end. There is a considerable match. I believe it was, the grant was 60,000 and we'd put in 100,000 or something to that effect.
When you had concrete, it'd be about 135, if I remember right.
So what Rick and the group PEC that's designing 13th, because that's where we thought to put it. Well, we wanted an adult workout facility in the 13th Street Park. So there we go. And they're going to pay for it. Well, they're going to pay for some of it. So what they're looking into was this the scale and the price point that we were looking to spend on that part of the redesigned 13th Street Park, or would we be better just doing what, if we had something else in a different price point in mind? So still exploring that option. I think we have a follow-up meeting with them next week or the week following.
Awesome. Thank you. I do. Rick, are we all set? I know it's 70 degrees out right now, but are we all set for snow and ice?
We have dry run all of our pieces of equipment. We are actually implementing a new plow ops center type that we will hopefully be able to demo out when it snows. But yeah, we're in pretty good shape. Our salt bins are full. Our guys have went through all that. We did a winter operations training and invited the parks department in, and a lot of them sat through it too. And working more on cross training for those type of events.
Perfect. So I just want to reiterate what Councilman Warrington said, Andover Central football, runners up for state. It was a tough game. Those boys fought hard. So my kid was actually in there. So Buck, you were there. Mike, were you?
Yeah.
Yeah, you were there. So yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, Joe was
Joe
too.
was
Yeah,
there.
I saw Joe. So it was a tough game, but at least it wasn't a blowout or Bishop Mays two years ago. So
#1 4A public school.
we've been
right.
saying that. Yeah,
Yep.
non-private school.
Public school
So,
champs.
but no, that's all I got, Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Mayor, you guys had mentioned sales tax earlier. Just wanted to let you know that through the end of November, we've already collected as much as we did all of last year, and we still have 1 month of receipts to go. And 2020 was a huge year for increase in sales tax, so it's continued into 2021. On a conservative estimate, we should end the year at about 2.75 million in sales tax collections. So.
All right. Anybody else? We've
Mr.
had
Mayor?
we've done a lot of things new this year that's never been done before. It's pretty incredible, actually, right? We'll see how they pan out, but things look good. Things are going the right direction. We get the ground breaking up at the Heritage and breaking ground on the BCC Culinary School soon. And a lot of neat things happening, man. And it's something that someday we'll look back on and think it was good to be a small part of, right? So, but all of us worked together, and it was a lot of work for staff, and unbelievable amount of work for staff and JT, and I'm just impressed with breaking into areas that Andover never thought they might break into, as far as TIF district and CID and all that stuff. So it's truly a big deal. We just don't notice it right now, but we will someday, and we'll be the city will be better for it, and I'm excited about the future. So thank you all for all the hard work you put into that, and council too, man. It's it's a big step, and so but we'll be proud of it someday. All right. Thank you very much.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes, sir.
I move to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All
Aye.
opposed? Motion carries 6-0.
Maybe if they had something else to say or something.